What's good, everybody? Hopefully you guys are doing good. So we are back today for another video, and in this video I'm going to talk about the unemployment numbers. I'm going to talk about the stimulus package, and I'm going to talk about the stock market, the election, kind of what's been going on the past couple days so you can plan better moving forward. Now before we begin, this is my Twitter page, as you guys can see. If you're not already following, go ahead and follow me. The fun never ends on Twitter, and this is the best way. If you guys have a video request, if you have a question, best place to put it. I respond pretty quickly, and yeah, there's a lot going on. As you guys can see, this is one of my favorite movies of all time. If you guys know what this movie, this picture, which movie it's from, let me know in the comments below. But yeah, go ahead and follow me, and it's the best way to get in contact with me. I can respond to you much faster than I can on YouTube. And yeah, that's my Twitter update. And I am post 9 to 5, so if I do sound a little bit tired or sleepy, that's why. But I'm gonna do my best to give you guys a good video so you guys can be informed moving forward. Okay, let's go. Alright, so the past couple of days I have been keeping an eye on the markets. I've been keeping an eye on unemployment benefits as well as the election news, just to kind of see what's going down. So this is from CNBC. Unemployment benefits stimulus checks, a breakdown of where aid measures stand. Now let's go over the key points. It's hard time to try to plan your finances. Unemployment benefits and other round of checks are up in the air. Yeah, we have a lot of uncertainty, and it's crazy because the elections, before you know it, they're going to be here. We're either going to have a new president or 4 more years of Trump. Those are our two options. All right, let's continue on here. In case you guys are not aware, Congress has been unable to strike a compromise on another package. Most of the relief measures delivered to Americans in the $2.2 trillion CARES Act, including 600 weekly federal unemployment checks, have come to an end. So that's big news, guys. That $2.2 trillion that we had, it's done. And the markets, I think they might be adjusting for that a little bit. This upcoming week, I'm going to show you guys the futures. Of course, that number changes, and tomorrow the numbers will be more accurate, but it's not going to be perfect. But based off what we're seeing, it does look like we are going to come to a halt a little bit, so people are either going to have to rely more on the states that they're going to pass something or figure out something else that you have to do, because right now it looks like we're going to have to buckle down, and it might get a little bit more difficult moving forward. Now, more recently, Democrats, they blocked Republicans' proposal for a reduced bug package. It was about $300 billion, saying it was an inadequate response to Americans struggling amid one of the steepest downturns in history. Republicans may call their proposal skinny, but it would be more appropriate to call it emancipated. That's from Senator Chuck Schumer. Now let's continue on here. All right, so here you go. This is important too. Renter households unable to pay rent and at risk of eviction as a share of total renter households facing eviction. Depending on which state you live in, where you are from, it's going to vary, but people overall, what we can take away from this is people are struggling to pay their rent. Rent prices have gone up. I was in California about a year and a half ago. Fortunately, I lived at home, so I didn't pay rent. But people that I talked to that did pay rent, it was just continuing to go up. I know LA County area was going up as well, and I'm pretty sure the trends are pretty similar across the board, as we can see here. Unemployment benefits. The federal boost, most jobless Americans will continue to get state unemployment benefits thanks to the CARES Act. Most workers will be able to collect payments for 39 weeks or even more in some cases. Now, Trump said he would send jobless Americans a $400 weekly payment, yet because the policy would require states to come up with $100 of that expected benefit, most people actually end up with $300 a week. Though Montana, Kentucky, and West Virginia found a way to give out the whole amount. So if you live in Montana, Kentucky, or West Virginia, let us know if unfortunately you are unemployed or you know somebody that's unemployed. How are these benefits affecting them? Are they getting the full amount? What's really happening? Because it seems like at this point we have a lot of news, but you just can't really tell what's true, what you can verify, what you can't. At this point, it's hard to tell. Falling behind. Share of consumer loans more than 90 days overdue by type. Of course, as you guys know, student loan is still out of control. Delinquency rate, 90 days plus, the percentages. So student loan and credit cards, the two things that I always talk about, trying to avoid. Credit card debt, student loan debt, not what you want. Mortgage, though, has gone down. So You got to kind of ask ourselves, does that mean that the homeowner rate is going down? Are people renting more? Things we got to consider. And of course, automotive. But you know what? I love this chart, guys. Let me tell you why I love this chart. These are the 4 types of debt you want to avoid: student loan, credit card, auto, and mortgage. If you can avoid, okay, let's put a goal for you guys. If you can avoid having any of these in your 20s, you'll be good. Now, the exception is mortgage. Obviously, most people have they're going to buy a house, they're going to have a mortgage loan. But try to at least knock out these 3. I think that would be a better path to go if you're able to do that. All right, now let's continue on here. Evictions are banned for now. The ban could prevent up to 40 million Americans from losing their homes amid the bug. Renters will need to sign a declaration. Okay, here we go, guys. So if you are unfortunately facing a situation where you might have to get evicted, this is from CNBC. This is not renter's advice. Talk to an expert. I'm just giving you guys information from the article. But it says renters will need to sign a declaration form and give it to their landlords to make sure they're protected. To qualify, individuals have to expect to earn less than $99,000 a year in 2020, and couples under $198,000. So there you go, guys. There are things you can do. Talk to an expert. They can give you advice based off of your own financial situation. Tax cuts. Trump calls for a temporary tax cut to payroll during the bug. The suspension of 6.2% tax employees paid towards Social Security will last until the end of the year and applies to workers who earn more than $4,000 per biweekly pay period. But many employers will likely not give their workers larger paychecks and just continue to withhold the levies for when and if they're eventually due to the government. A break from student loans. Hopefully no one who watches my videos has student loans, because if you take anything away from what I'm telling you guys, avoid student loans unless you're going to be going into a field where it's technical and you need loans to pay for it. Try to get some type of sponsorship. Do whatever you can, guys. A loan should be your last option. You just don't want to be in your debt, and you don't want to be stuck in debt in your 20s and 30s and 40s, unless, like I said, you're going for something that's going to be a high payout and you want to go that route. But like I said, consider all your options. Talk to an expert, and you got to break it down, guys. Get a whiteboard and break it down. Make it simple. Don't be that person who gets like $100,000 or $200 in debt and you're getting a job that's paying not much more than we could get without a degree. Don't be one of those people. All right, a break from student loans. Trump's executive order also granted people with federal student loans a break from their bills until January, during which interest will not accrue. There have been some questions over whether such a move is constitutional. All right, guys, so I'm not a constitutional expert, so I'm not going to give you guys a breakdown from the constitutional perspective. However, that's one thing to consider if it's even constitutional. But the U.S. Department of Education has now announced that it will fully implement the president's memorandum, which is good for Trump, because if he can do that, he'll help get the vote of the young people, some of them who still potentially might vote for Trump. The payment pause through December 21st, 2020 is automatic. If your loans qualify for the reprieve, you shouldn't have to request it with your servicer, unlike the Education Department's usual forbearance and deferments. Like I said, I have no idea how this stuff works, because I am fortunate enough that I didn't have student loans. I just paid them off as I went. I went to community college. You know what, guys? Let me just stop there. I'll make a video for another time about student loans and all that good stuff in college. Second $1,200 stimulus checks had bipartisan support. Now they could be a long shot. Here's some key points. A second round of $1,200 stimulus checks was one form on aid both sides of the aisle Congress could agree on, yet Congress remains stalemate on other relief issues, and those payments could get sidelined, at least for now. Americans' financial needs could force politicians back to the table. Meanwhile, experts say that demand for additional aid continues to grow. This is from CNBC, as I had just mentioned. Let's continue on. Let's see what are some takeaways. The Senate failed to move a Republican bill forward on Thursday that included my bad, I said $300 billion, $500 billion was their number. The bill did not receive the 60 votes needed to pass in Senate. The chamber split 52-47. All Senate Democrats who were present and one Republican, Rand Paul, voted against the bill. Like I said, guys, we are playing a game of chicken. Republicans want to do what they can to show they have support for the Americans, and if they're able to pass this bill, it might put the Democrats in a bad spot, because Republicans say, hey, we passed a bill, the Democrats couldn't pass a bill, and it's just a game at this point, which they probably would be playing until Election Day. What could push lawmakers to act? Continue on here. Lawmakers have one area of leverage last week when both parties agreed on continuing resolution to fund the government in the new fiscal year, which begins August 1st. So yeah, these guys obviously were able to fund the government because we don't want a government shutdown, but a check that people need in times of need, especially when they're already talking about passing stuff, that doesn't happen. Kind of questionable. Support for the $1,200 check. Many Americans, particularly those who not typically file taxes because they have low incomes, are still waiting for those first payments. The IRS is making efforts to get money out to those people. If we were to do regular checks, the IRS would be even better at issuing them. Well, yeah, they did it once before, so now they got practice. So what are we waiting for? Everybody keeps talking about practice. These guys have plenty of practice now. Alright, now here's what's interesting, guys. So, you guys probably know Mr. Fauci, right? He's been kind of gone for a while. He comes in. Whoops, let me pause here so you don't hear the sound. We don't want no copyright strikes. So Mr. Fauci comes in, right? And we hear what's happening for a while, and then he's gone, and then he's back, and then he's gone. So you got to kind of ask yourself, what is going on behind the scenes that we might not know? Are Trump and Fauci really beefing? Is the media pushing overboard? I couldn't tell you. But this is from the Washington Post, which tends to show Trump negatively. Fauci disagrees with Trump's claim that U.S. has rounded the final turn on the bug. So is that maybe why Fauci's not talking too much? Because you don't want to have your doctor basically go against what you're saying. That's not good. That's bad press. We don't want the publicity like that. He's not going to want that going forward. He wants good publicity. Here are some significant developments. All right, here you go, guys. All right, let's go. Ready for this? Let's see. The Trump administration flew immigrant detainees to Virginia this summer to facilitate the rapid deployment of tactical teams to quell protests in Washington, circumventing restrictions and fueling a bug outbreak. Harvard research suggests young people are more at risk from the bug than assumed. A study of more than 3,000 patients aged 18 to 34, that's definitely not good because I'm in that bracket somewhere, found that 20% needed intensive care, 10% needed a ventilator, and 2.7% died. That's not good, guys. That's not good news. The emergency unemployment benefits approved by Trump last month are already running out, leaving millions of Americans without extra support as prospects dim for a congressional deal to provide more relief for jobless Americans. A Centers for Disease Control and Prevention study found that people with the bug were twice as likely as those without the bug to have recently eaten in a restaurant. A disturbing revelation as several states moved to loosen public dining restrictions. Interesting. Very, very interesting. Now, the one thing to ask ourselves is this study here, how they're saying the whole thing with restaurants and people more likely to get it. Is that a cause for, or is it a correlation? Is it causality or a correlation? Does it so happen that people who go eat at restaurants also had the bug because they're more social with their own family? Or is there something else going on? That's one thing we got to distinguish if it is a correlation or a causation. Now let's continue on here. In December, Peloton was at the wrong end of bombardment of criticism and meme for running a cringeworthy ad. Now investors are laughing to the bank. Yeah, Peloton stock is doing okay the last time I checked. Disclaimer, I am not invested in them. I don't plan on getting invested in them, but I know their situation a little bit. Israel will impose a second nationwide lockdown after a surge in bug infections across the country. So there you go, guys. Some countries around the world are having a second lockdown. So don't think for one second that it wouldn't happen here in the States. It definitely could, and before you know it, it could definitely happen. It may come to a city near you. We're going to have to wait and see. Let's continue on here with, let's see what CNN has. Stimulus deal unlikely until after the election. Now here is another theory, guys. CNN obviously does not like Trump. We know this. CNN likes Biden. We know this. Now, let's say Biden was to be elected, right? Imagine this scenario. Biden gets elected. He wins. People need checks. Biden comes to the table and says, hey, we need to do this check thing, and then a check passes somehow, right? Somehow Biden is president and a check passes. Well, guess what? Public perception of Biden is going to go through the charts. He potentially will have a better chance of being reelected, and that's going to put him in a good spot, and the Democrats in a good spot to get maybe people in the House or the Senate when it's time for reelection, all that good stuff. So this definitely could be a good strategy if the Democrats are looking to make that type of move. And I should say move, not move. That type of move they're probably trying to make to create a certain type of mood. All right, let's continue on here. Everybody's favorite Speaker of the House, Miss Pelosi. We're not going to talk about her controversy stuff. Trump's unemployment program pays up to $1,800 in extra benefits to workers who qualify. The Lost Wage Assistant Program pays $300 a week federal supplement to unemployment benefits, will last up to 6 weeks. That means workers would get up to $1,800 in total aid if they received unemployment benefits for the weeks ending August 1st through September 5th. Workers in some states would get more, up to $2,400 if their state opted to pay an extra $100 per week. So depending on your state, guys, if you unfortunately are in a spot where you're going to be getting some unemployment because you lost your job, you got laid off, whatever, check with your state officials, their offices, their websites to see what you're going to be eligible to get, because it's going to vary, and who knows how long they're going to be going with this thing. Federally it says up to 6 weeks, but statewide you never know. Alright, this is from Yahoo. Let's see what Yahoo has to tell us. Wave of US states run out of extra unemployment benefits as negotiations flounder. So this also makes my point as well, guys. Do not rely on anybody else to fund your lifestyle and your living. You must find a way to do it yourself. Okay? The government has a lot of debt, a lot of liabilities, a lot of things they're trying to pay for, and you never know if you're going to get your funds, if you'll get it in a timely manner, how long you got to wait, when those funds could be cut off. You just don't know, which is why you got to develop some type of strategy to develop streams of income to help better protect yourself and your family moving forward. But yeah, these things only confirm what I've been telling you guys in terms of not relying too much, because as you guys can see, it's going to vary by state. Ran out of funds: Arizona, Texas, Missouri, Tennessee, and I think MT is Montana. But there you have it, guys. So some states are struggling, and I would not be surprised if more states run out of funds as time goes on. Come to real agreement with Congress as the continuing of the program. The LWA funding is limited up to $44 billion, redirected from the Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, which is why the money is running out. Yeah, it seems like a common theme, guys, that a lot of programs are running out of money. So we have to be smart, and we can't just sit down and complain. We have to plan. Okay, they're running out of money, we got to do something. This is also from CNN Business, and this is after Friday. This is as of September 11th. The data that we have here, as you guys can see, we look like we're going to be in the green, but like I had mentioned, these numbers can change at a moment's notice, and tomorrow they probably will change before markets open back up on Monday. And down here, commodities, gold up slightly, natural gas is down, light crude. Like I said, numbers right now are pretty consistent the past couple days, but that could all change. Let's continue on here, see what else we got. It's from Barron's. Few gains ahead for the S&P 500, but lots of drama beneath the surface. Strategists. Yeah, guys, there's a lot of drama that, like I said, we probably don't know. We're just gonna have to wait and see what we have in store for us. The big news for the year in terms of stock has been tech. This has been the year of the big tech. Alphabet, Amazon, Apple, Facebook, Microsoft, and lifted valuations increasingly lofty levels even after Nasdaq's recent setback. Let me see here. So Alphabet, Amazon, Facebook, Microsoft, I don't own those. Apple, I do own a little bit. And as you guys know my strategy, unless they pay dividends, I'm not investing in them. Only exception is I own one stock that does not pay a dividend, but that's kind of a special case. We'll go over that another time. Let's continue. But yeah, basically, we just have more breakdowns for what's going down. The other 495 companies in S&P 500 could see their sales decline by 5% this year. Similarly, the big five boast EBITDA, earnings before interest, tax, depreciation, amortization. So that's okay, good. So I haven't really talked about this too much, but EBITDA is a number that they can use to help to break down a stock. It stands for earning before interest, tax, depreciation, amortization, which is helpful, but like I said, it's technical. I don't want to go into it in this video. Margins of 29% versus 17% for the S&P 495. All the tech titans have net cash, implying little balance sheet risk. Let's continue on here. Now I'm going to end it with this, guys. I know it's getting kind of late, so let's get to a few more topics and we can move on and we'll be good. Biden taking the leads in the polls, but bettors are taking a gamble on Trump. This is from Fox News. So Fox News is telling us that Biden is leading. There might be something to it. Trump has created this fairy tale betting story. All right, so one of these two guys is going to be president, most likely, unless something crazy happens. All right, emotions were running high on election night in 2016, especially if you had nearly 30,000 on the line. I went into election night with the position of Trump minus 28, Clinton plus 25. The world's largest online betting exchange was Betfair. Now, I don't bet, guys. Sports, politics, I'm not a betting type of guy. It's just not my strategy. If you guys bet, I got nothing against it. I'm not here to tell you what to do or don't do. I'm just saying, disclaimer, I don't bet. I don't gamble on this type of stuff. That's not my strategy. Now let's get straight to it here. The Fox News polls, 2020, Biden versus Trump. Biden is up 49, Trump 41 from July 12th to 15th. And obviously, these polls are not perfect. It's got a plus minus of 3. And we'll have to wait and see. These numbers are most likely going to change the closer we get to election date. During the 2012 race, the national polls had Obama and Republican candidate Mitt Romney locked in a virtual tie where the betting markets like Betfair and now operational Irish betting site Intrade heavily favored Obama. I think that election was like a landslide. I mean, 2012, I wasn't really into it too much. But yeah, I think Obama won by pretty substantial numbers. But the last election I recall very, very vividly, people were very surprised with Trump's victory. Now, Tick-Tock. Okay, guys, I don't use Tick-Tock at the moment. I don't know how to use it. I'm going to be completely honest. I tried the app. It's kind of complicated for me. I got to practice, obviously, but right now it's just not something I'm focusing on. At some point I will. But I ask you guys for a favor. If you made it this far into the video, two things. First thing, don't forget to like and subscribe to the video. That would be great. Great way to thank me for making the video for you guys. And also, if somebody can explain to me how Tick-Tock works, is there a course or a guide or an ebook that I can take to learn how to use it? Because I honestly I have no idea how to use it, guys. But could a Tick-Tock shutdown cost Trump at the polls? I just want to go over this chart because I saw this chart that was kind of interesting. Americans' view of Tick-Tock grouped by age. 18 to 24, they like Tick-Tock. But then when you go from 25 and up, more people have a unfavorable view, and it looks like you have a lot of people who are undecided, obviously, because these numbers aren't 100%. But 65 and up, obviously, it's not really favorable for those guys in 55 and 64. Because Tick-Tock, it takes a while. It's a whole different process. You got to make the video, edit the video, do all that good stuff. So I can see why people would have a more difficult time versus a Twitter or a Facebook where you just type, and that's kind of easier for older folks. Dow ends 131 points higher Friday, but Nasdaq registers worst week since March. U.S. stock benchmarks booked second week in a row of losses. So yeah, a lot of the big tech companies got hit pretty hard. As you guys can see, assets that led 2020 might be the assets of 2021. Yeah, who knows if big tech is going to be on top next year as well. We're just going to have to wait and see. How did the other markets fare? As you guys can see, gold was up. Europe was slightly up. The dollar index was down a little bit. And the last thing I have for you guys, stocks appear to be experiencing a textbook correction as payback for an August overshoot rally. A picture of the market pullback in recent weeks could sit beside the definition of a correction in the dictionary. Friday, the Nasdaq 100 closed under its 50-day moving average for the first time in 105 years. Very little of the recent weaknesses has the look of the market sniffing out imminent economic problems or financial stress, at least so far. But yeah, guys, we have made a pretty decent recovery. We had that minor drop here a few days ago in September, but at this point in time, we just don't know, guys. That's why, like I said, you cannot. I challenge anybody. Can you time the market? I'm going to say you cannot, because look at this. The dips really happen here for a few days, and if you have huge drops, it's over the course of a couple days. So there's really no way of knowing for sure when is the best time. I kind of just look at a long-term horizon. That's not investing advice. That's just my own way of looking at things. But yeah, guys, like I said, tomorrow about probably midday on Sunday, you'll be able to better know where we're at moving forward. And even then, the numbers could change, but it'll be a better picture versus what we have today. Alright guys, so hopefully that gave you guys information with what's been going on. We have a lot of issues with the stocks. We have the election coming up. We have a lot with the unemployment numbers and all the benefits and all that good stuff. And the bug is still out of control. And don't forget about Twitter, all that good stuff. If you made it this far to the video, thank you for watching. I appreciate all those who stuck until the very end. The support is very much appreciated. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and until next time, peace.